Hello everyone and welcome to the third video in this module. If you've been following this course for a while, you would have seen us go through the principles, the elements, the basics, the interface, and in this module we've been designing a few flyers. We've designed two so far. The first one, a Ramadan Mubarak flyer, and the second one was a church flyer. Now these two previous designs were replications of the signs I had done earlier. Now in the real world, you don't get to replicate the signs. You get briefs or copies from clients, and then you have to create a design from that brief. And briefs usually come in text. So I used AI to generate a brief for us to work on in this video. So what you are seeing on your screen right now is the brief I got from Claude. So before we even start designing at all, I want us to go through it and have a general idea of what we are supposed to work on. So we have the headline, eat well, pay less. If you remember when we were discussing principles of design, which principle did I say means what you want to be visible first, what you want to be most prominent? That principle is what we are going to be using here. Eat well, pay less. That's what we want to be most visible, most prominent. That's the main message. Then after that, we have what you get, which is like a section on its own. Freshly cooked Nigerian meals daily. We have about four. Menu highlights, the several dishes they offer. Then we have weekend deals. We have order and delivery. And then we have a note at the bottom of the brief. It says color preference, warm orange and deep brown dominant. When you are designing for people, they have color preferences. And luckily, this works for us because it's a food brand and orange brown works when it comes to food. So if I were to work on this normally, what would I do? I would go to my browser before I even start designing, go to Pinterest, and there I'm going to search for brand flyer design inspiration. Alright, so I'm going to keep checking until I see a couple of very good ones. Now, the fact that a flyer looks good and it grabs your attention does not mean you can take inspiration from it and use it in your design. For example, if we look at this and think, oh, I love this a lot, can I use it as inspiration for my design? It won't work because if you've noticed already, you know we have a whole lot of content in this that we want to fit into a single design. And this just has very few content, the special deal, only $5.99. That's basically all. Then the little text. But we have a lot of things here that we have to show. So we go back to look for inspirations that actually look similar to what we are trying to work on. Now I'm going to keep scrolling. I think I should skip this part of the video because the entire video in itself is going to be very long. Alright, so I've gotten a couple of inspirations, so I'm going to start designing. Come to new file, our 4x5, the usual settings for a flyer design, and we have artboards. Then we click on create. Now the first thing I'm going to do is to create a mood board from the inspiration I've gotten online. So I'm going to come to my move tool, click and hold, or if you are not using the mouse, press and hold. Then choose your artboard tool. We are trying to draw another artboard. Now draw this and make sure it's wider than it's tall. Just extend it a bit like this. Yes, because we are creating a mood board and we would need a lot of space to put in all our flyers. So I'm going to my folder where I saved all the ideas I got from Pinterest. I'm going to bring everything into Photoshop, place it that way, and I'll keep pressing enter until I've placed everything on my second artboard. Alright, so I think I'm going to rename this artboard to mood board because that's technically what it is anyway. I'm going to select every single thing I've gotten so far, transform, reduce the size, then I'm going to bring it to the edge here. So I'm going to start separating. Make sure I deselect everything because if I don't, I'm still going to move everything together. So click out of the mood board or the artboard if you didn't rename it. Then you start arranging like so. we have two copies of this, so I'm going to delete one. Rearrange this like so. We have this here. Okay. Now from this designs, not everything is food related. For example, this is about probably an event or someone selling a course. Yeah, affiliate marketing. But I actually liked it and I felt this is a nice design. I can get something from it. So when you're searching for inspiration, it doesn't really need to be exactly what you are designing. I mean, I could pick this shape from it. I could pick the way the main text was written. I could pick the way the image was edited. I can get several things from any design. So to start with, we can obviously notice already that there is a main text, and the position of the main text in most of this design is at the top left. We have this top left, top left, top left, same here and same here. I'm sure I would have mentioned this not once, not twice, probably a couple of times when I was talking about principles, elements before we started designing at all. I'm sure I would have mentioned stealing like an artist. So what we are trying to do here is we are getting inspiration from this design, but our own design that would come out of this should not look like any of the designs we are getting inspiration from. By the time you create your design and it looks exactly like your inspiration, you are basically stealing an artist's work. But when you do your design and you pick the header from a flyer, the footer from a flyer, the image placement from another flyer, the font pairing from another flyer, and you bring it together and it makes sense, then you are stealing like an artist. That is basically the difference. So first I'm going to type my main text here. I like the font that was used here, and if you notice, it looks very similar to the font that was used here. Look at the H. The H looks almost the same. If you come here also, you see the same style. The typography actually looks similar. And I'm going to be honest with you, I actually know the font that was used. It's Bricolage Grotesque. It's actually a good font and it was trending so much a couple of months ago. So I understand why it's going to appear on a lot of flyers. And that is the same font we are still going to use. So come here and we'll type. Definitely you at this point know how to install fonts on your own. So what is the first text here? We have it will pay less. We can just come to our notepad here and copy instead of typing it all over again. Then we come here and do paste. Alright, it will pay less. We want both to be on different lines. Okay, and I'm going to reduce the spacing in between. Now I won't be going through the extra details like I've always done in previous videos because I'm sure I've mentioned these things a couple of times. Out of habits, I would still definitely go back to explain some things, but it won't be as much as I've done previously. I think I should start designing faster because we have a lot of things to do here. So I'm going to reduce the spacing here. I'm using a shortcut now. If you actually don't know the shortcuts, there's AI, there's Google. You can just go online how to increase or reduce the spacing between letters or lines in Photoshop. So we have that. Let me place it here. And what's next to do? We have what you get: freshly cooked Nigerian meals daily, blah blah blah, like that. We have like 4 lines of that. Now, from our inspiration, I think we can copy this. We can use this idea that we have here. Where else do we have something like that? Yes, we have an idea here also that we can pick from. Okay, I like this also, the bullet points. I like the way this is. You see that it's common in all these designs. If something is good, you see designers using it a lot. So we come here to create a rectangle, shortcut U, then draw my rectangle like so. And I'm going to bring it here. Yeah, I think this is good. And before we even continue the signing, I want us to pick the colors we are going to use. So I'm going to draw a couple of rectangles. It's 5, 2, 5. Why do I have dotted lines as the outline? I'm going to outline for it. Okay, so note from the brief, person, we are going to assume there is a person. The person said they want warm orange and deep brown to be the dominant colors. So I'm going to come here, pick a deep brown. Where do we have deep brown? I like this, so I'm going to pick this. Then we start hunting for oranges in our inspiration. I actually like this red. I'm not sure we are going to be using it, but let's still pick it. Okay, let's pick another rectangle. Then we have this orange. This is for ingredients we should pick this. We have ingredients and they used this orange and this yellow, so we should pick the yellow also. This I'm actually thinking we picked the wrong orange in the previous one, so I'm going to do this again. Make sure we have the right orange because that looks so. And yes, I think four colors are enough. And with these colors you've selected, if you, for example, come here and want to change the color of this, you come to the properties panel, you are going to see these four recent colors amongst your swatches. I mean, yes, these are the colors amongst your swatches. You have them here. So this is me designing from scratch, so it's not going to kind of reflow like you are going to see the thinking process behind the designs. Okay. I think I want to pick another color for the background because I don't like plain white. So I'm going to come and I like this shade, looks like off-white or cream. This is plain one, something like this. This is cool. Just something a little bit of white. Okay. Alright, let's not waste too much time. The next thing we are doing is what you get, then we are putting all this into that. So we come here text. So for this, I'm going to create a text box instead of just clicking because that has an advantage when you are working with text. So with your text tool selected, you just click and drag to create a text box. Then you paste whatever you've copied earlier. Now you can select or Control A, reduce the size. Of course, that's it to about 10. And the font I'm going to be using for this body is Poppins regular. I'm going to reduce the spacing between lines like so. If at this point you don't get how I'm reducing lines, you don't need to go back to the previous video. And if you want to, you can just go online to search for these shortcuts because when I was starting out also I didn't know these things often. I often to search for like basic things, but with time you get to know them. Come here, Control T. Let's come to my properties panel to add corner radius to it. Because if you look at your inspiration, you'd notice that every shape has some kind of radius to the corner, so you don't have sharp corners. Even look at this, and I'm going to pick this actually. I like the way this sharp corner comes here. We see the same thing here. We see the same thing here. We see it here. Good things are repeated in the signs. If you see something that a lot of designers use, they repeat it. It means it looks good in the sign. So it won't, it won't hurt for you to just pick it and use, right? So I'm going to reduce this. I'm still using black and white for now, not adding any colors because I genuinely do not know what colors to use. I'm not replicating from the previous design, so it's not like the color I used earlier that I just want to make sure it gets correct. And what's the header for this? We have what you get or what you get. It should be better. So let's create a rectangle and put some corner radius on it. Yeah, I don't like having dotted stroke, dotted lines as so I'm going to select these two rectangles, change this to so now yeah that's way better. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, then it's below this rectangle I just created. You now to bring a layer up, right? There's a shortcut, there's a manual layers panel. Okay, we've mentioned that over and over again. We click on this and let me just copy the text, paste here what you get. So I'm going to reduce this text box so we don't have a headache when we are trying to align things. So if the text box is too big, the alignment will be working with respect to the text box, not the text itself, and that will give you issues later. So I'm going to reduce it because we have nothing else there. Alright. Then I'm going to select the text and this rectangle align centers horizontally and vertically. Okay, so for this text box, I said I'm picking inspiration from this. I like the way this is. So this is a gradient, orange and orange to yellow. Alright, so there are a couple of ways. I mean, you've had that several times too. There are a couple of ways to do the same thing in Photoshop. To create a gradient, you can come to your properties view, and instead of using swatches here, you can come to this tab. It's the gradient tab where you can choose from several gradients that are available. Or you can create your own gradients. But I do not like this, and the reason why I don't like doing this is whatever you do here, by the time you do another rectangle anywhere in your design, it's going to take the previous gradient. I don't like that. I like my shapes to be on black by default, or for them to just pick a solid fill instead of a gradient. So the way I prefer to do this is come to Effects, FX over here, then come to Gradient Overlay. Now here you have a lot of control. Now I've used this gradient a couple of times. It's the one I used last, so it's still. But I'm going to click on it. Let's assume I have blues here, alright? Because you might not get that directly. Let's assume I have blues here. You click on this, then you come here. This is how gradient works. This black we have on top, on the left and on the right, they tell you the transparency of what's under. Now, full black is you can see 100% opaque. If I reduce it, it changes to white. That means this part is going to be transparent. Your gradient is going from blue to transparent. That's your gradient overlay. So here we want it to go from this orange to yellow, and we obviously want to see it. So I'm going to come here, click on color, pick orange, okay, then click on this yellow, and I'm just going to drag this away, like simply just click on it and drag it away to delete it. I don't like how dull this gradient looks, but we're going to work with it. Can edit things later. Click on OK, and that's our first color in the design. Let's select everything. Select these four layers. You should be able to select layers now. You done shifts to select a couple of layers, or if you are doing it from the layers panel, you don't control, or you can just drag over it, select everything like this, and then move whatever it is you want to move. Alright, so what's next to do? We have a design. We have done all this freshly shield drink with, but look at the inspiration we are working with. You can see these bullet points here. You can see this kind of bullet points here, and we want to create our own, right? Now we are not going to copy exactly what we have here. We are only copying the idea of a bullet point, so we can come up with something close to this, but not exactly this. What do I mean? I'm going to create a bullet now from a triangle. So I'm going to come here, create a triangle. I'm going to rotate it so it faces this section. That's about 45 degrees rotation. We are using the precise control side. Okay, then I want it to have a stroke. So I'm going to remove the stroke here. Now Control T, I'm going to compress it side to its wide at the base. Now I'm going to come to my pen tool P, select add anchor points because I'm trying to edit this triangle. So I'm going to add an anchor point here. You can see this my cursor changes to a pen tool with a plus at the base, right? So I'm adding an anchor point there. Now if I come back to A, the shortcut is A on your keyboard. That's your direct selection tool, and you select that new anchor point. You can drag it in. So we've created a bullet on our, so you can change the fill to white. That's a bullet, and let's reduce the size of this. Yes, I like the sizes. This is good. Use it. This is good. Yeah, fantastic. Then we duplicate times once. You can select the four since the text you are trying to attach a bullet to is evenly spaced. So we can evenly space these bullets out too. We come here, distribute spacing, distribute vertically like so. That is just to make sure the space in between each bullet icon is equal. So let's select the 4. I would like you to actually answer a project like this because it will get to a point it will get very confusing without labels. So bullets, and I'm going to move this to the left, this a bit to the left also, right? This looks good so far. And next, what else do we have to do? We have our menu highlights. I could see for you and for. Now we can put that under this, but then our flyer is looking too basic. What do you notice here? You notice that the flyer is kind of divided into two portions. You have an upper portion, a lower portion with different colors. You see the same here, and the lower portion has a kind of corner radius, like a card that is coming up in most of our applications that we use. So we can do the same here and create a rectangle R. Sorry, the shortcut, I'm still doing a triangle. That's a mistake. I should change this to rectangle over here. Rectangle 2. That's this. Yeah, considering the amount of stuff we still have to put in this design, I think we still need to move this up to create a lot of space for us. Alright, this up and go T to extend it this way. Then I can come to my properties panel and add corner radius to it. Right, this first corner radius. Now it's adding corner radius to every edge of the rectangle. But I don't want corner radius at the bottom here. You can see the white sticking out a little bit. I don't want that. So I'm going to unlink the corners. Then I'm going to reduce the two corners at the bottom to 0. Now you can see the corners disappearing. Let's move it up. You see the corner radius only affects the two corners at this edge. Now this is looking exactly again like our inspiration. Now it's fine if nothing comes to your head, just leave it this way. It's perfectly fine. But what do you think we can do? We can edit this a bit to make it look different. Let's come to our direct selection to shortcut A. Then we'll select this entire second side. Let's pull it down like this, and that's already something different. What we are getting inspiration. Let's remove this up. We can that way. Now we can now type our text. So we can copy this. How do you copy? Click, Alt, drag, then bring it up, and the text is white, so it shows perfectly. Come to this, we just copy everything. There's no need to stress, and we just paste it here. Now, the reason why I said you should use a text box when we are working with a lot of text the other time is if I just type it here like this, let me change it to black, and then I paste whatever it is I copied. Let's have it there. Now, I won't, if I need this Banga soap to come down, I would have to click on it, press enter, like I would have to keep arranging manually. But if you use a text box, just look at this, see, click on it, make sure this dotted outline comes up, then you can just extend the box. You see how it adjusts automatically. That's the advantage of using a text box. So we have this. This is good. I think this works. Alright, let's move it down. Now the reason why I'm fast, let me see a bit of experience. I've not been designing for that long, but I've done a couple of designs and I have a general idea of how the structure is and how it's supposed to look. So I'm going to copy this and this, bring it down here. Control Shift square brackets to bring it under. Okay, what's the header for this menu highlights? Let's just change that. Now it's not showing completely, so we click on it, extend the text box. We can show everything. Alright, it's to the center horizontally and vertically. But we have the same thing up here. So can we do something different? Yes, we can. We can come here. Let's take out the corner radius. Now, if this is sounding too fast for you, you can pause, try and get the effect, then resume. When you have time, try your best to get as much as you can from these videos. So we reduce the corner radius completely to 0. Then I'll come to my direct selection tool here. I just want to adjust different a little bit like so. Let me bring this here. I just don't want it to be exactly like, I mean, it's fine. It's fine too if you want to leave it out. The sign is not like maths or anything where you have to, yeah, this is bring this off. I can select the two. I actually don't like this white outline we have here. So I'll just select it, come here, my stroke, reduce it, icon no outline for this case. Then let's select the two, Control G, then we'll select this text, this header, and then we want to align them to the left. Remember our design principles. Now, when I was making the video about design principles, I mentioned that when I'm designing, I'm not thinking about all these principles. Is it aligned? It's just something that's become part of me. I can't leave this like this, for example, and continue. I know I'm meant to align it to the left. So the more you design these things naturally, there's no need for you to stress and cram all these things, right? Alright, so let's do the next thing. What's next do we have? So we have the weekend deals. That's the next section. Honestly, I think we don't have much space again. So what am I going to do? I'm going to select every text I've worked on so far. This, this. Now selection is easy for me to do because I've grouped certain elements to see and reduce the size of every single thing so I have more space. So I'm just reducing it a little bit and look at the amount of extra space I now have to work with. So I'm going to click on this again down. Yeah, we have more space to move this. What can we do? What can we do now to actually maximize this space? I want this, and this to be on it like this. Control Shift, square brackets. Yeah, this makes sense. And I'm going to change the color of the text to black because I want to change this background to more lighter color, black. Click on the, I want something close to this yellowish, white, yellow, something in between. Alright, now we have this. The color I used in case you want to use specific color is DCFF11F. But even if you can come up with another thing, another color combination that looks better than this, I would actually be happy. I would be glad to see that because it proves that you're actually learning to design and think on your own. Now, this big giant black rectangle we have here is definitely not part of our colors. So let's change it at once to this deep brown that we have. Oh, this is too bad. It looks like we are designing a chocolate flyer, and I don't want that. I would prefer we use this brown. Instead, we are going to go back to hunt for colors. This brown, yes, this very deep brown that looks black almost. So we come here is now for me to select color first, you see what I'm doing. I'm coming to this little icon that is attached to the thumbnail of the layer and double clicking. If it's a shape, it allows me to select color. But if it's a smart object, do we have any on this layer? No, we don't. Okay, we have this. If it's a smart object, it's going to open another page for me to edit the smart objects. That's the difference between double clicking a shape layer and a smart object layer. So we do this. Okay. Now we see our bullet has disappeared somehow. Where do we have it? Because we named it, we can find it. That's the point of organizing your files or your work. Come here, Control Shift, square brackets to bring it up. We still can't see it that much because it is white. Everything is white. So we come here, select the 4 U to bring out this and we change it to black. Now you can see our bullets when we drag it. When you make a mistake, Control Z, you can take it back. Then let's just, I'm using my direction buttons to actually take it down. This works. And if it does not fit perfectly, you can do Shift G to ungroup, align the one at the top, then align the one at the bottom. Okay, make sure the 4 are aligned vertically, centered vertically. Then make sure the spacing in between is distributed equally. Then you can group back and make sure you rename back to bullets. And next thing we're going to be working on now is the tools themselves, the amount people are going to pay for them. So let's look at this. I like this actually because I'm getting a lot of inspiration from this design. I like the way this is. Where else do we have something like that? Okay, this, but I can't use it because it's not similar to what we want to do. This is so close to this. We have Nigeria, then the price. Here we have family tree, then the price. Then we have the discounts and thing here, and we have the same thing here. Alright, so let's I'm having an idea presently to do something that looks like a ticket, but that would be very complex. Not really complex actually. I'm not going to this, so I'm just going to create a rectangle, give it the same feel we used. And how do we do that? Yes. Another advantage of not using gradient fill here, coming here to pick a gradient, but using gradient overlay instead is because you can copy gradient overlay and paste it on another layer. For example, we have gradient overlay on this layer, right? You can just come here, hold on Alt. That's how we copy in Photoshop. Anything you want to copy, just Alt and drag. So you can drag the gradient overlay on our rectangle 5 here. Then rename it to tickets. Make that what you get. In fact, I'm going to group everything here. What you get, giant this and this. Okay, Control G. If I hide that, everything disappears. Yes, it's now in a group. Now for the tickets, I'm going to copy this College Grotesque text, bring it here, Control Shift square bracket. This text actually works well for money. Let's look at our inspiration. You see they used it. They used it for this 18,000 naira. That was the initial price. Then 11,000 is the new price. So let's do 11k. What you can also do is, to check if you'd have enough space. I know I'm going to be doing for family tree couple combos. So let me just duplicate this, 2, 3, and see. Do I have enough space to do this? Yes, I do. So this right. So I can bring this here. I can leave it on black, but we've been using white, and I think black looks good actually. That's the advantage of this specific gradient. It looks so good with black and white. So we come to 11k, double click black, change it to white, and next we have to duplicate, reduce the size. And what was the initial price? 18,000 naira. We are going to reduce this to, this shouldn't be bold, it should be something around medium, probably regular. We don't want people to see it that much because it's not the main information we are passing across. It's not the amount it costs now. So I'm going to even reduce the opacity to 50. You know how to reduce opacity to 50. Then, okay, you can still leave it like that. And like I mentioned the other time, if you notice, every rectangle you see has some sort of corner radius. So come here, add a little bit of it. Okay, that is fine. To select this to reduce the size like so. Now if you feel like I don't think I'm going too fast. But if you feel like I'm going too fast for you, you can pause this. I don't want you to assume that this is just too hard for me to get, so I'm just going to skip it. Everything here is super simple, like it's super easy. Once you get it once, you can keep doing it for the rest of your life. So let's duplicate this, Control Shift square brackets here. Now I'm using, what did I mention was the advantage of using this text box? If you are typing a lot or you are just typing little text, it's just what I want to put. So I'm just going to see text, then paste right, then against enables mid. So I'm going to reduce the size like this. Then I'm going to bring it here. Alright. We have family square feet 4 to 5 square feet 4 to 5 people. So we have this, this. Okay, reduce the size a little bit. Okay, that's it's genuinely That's good. There's a little bit of effect I think I'm going to add. I'm going to draw a square. Now, what I want to do is a rhombus. So what do? I draw a square. I'm going to rotate by 45 degrees. That's how you get a rhombus. Then change the fill to white and the stroke. You don't need a stroke. V, move to, reduce the size, Ctrl T, then we reduce the size. Then we bring it here, edge here. Now you should have your smart guides on because they are going to assist you in cases like this. You can't use all these alignments for a case like this. There's no way if you align left, this is how it's going to. It's not going to be at the center. Your only smart guide can help you with that. And I think you come to view, should make sure smart guide is right. So we can select the two now and align vertically. It's even, let's duplicate it. Sorry, we are duplicating diamond, bringing it to the right here. Now we are done with that card. We can add a white. Yes, a little bit of stroke makes sense here. Okay, we are done with this. So I'm going to select every single thing here. The two rhombus, the background, the family tree, the serious amounts and the new amounts. Control G. I'm going to rename it to price card. This is going to make your life so much easier. I keep repeating it when you are making changes later. If you have your design organized, your life would be easy. But if it's disorganized, you would have to keep searching for things one by one. So I can duplicate the layers by, holding on Alt and drag. Then I'm going to do the same here. Okay, we have the spacing between the three equal, but even if it's not equal, you can just select the three, come here to distribute spacing equally between the three. Now you have the spacing perfect. Okay, I'm going to come here. I don't need this fit 4 to 5 because if you look at the rest, we only have couple combo. So I'm going to speed this up because we are just editing the text we have here. Alright, we are back. And while I sped it up, you might have gone, oh, this is now scattered it. We are going to work on it. Now we can come to our layers panel. Now is when we need it the most, when we are making this little adjustments where we have to be very precise. So you don't stress yourself. You do it from the layers panel. You select from the layers panel, especially if you've grouped them. Or I have mentioned this in a previous video where you make selection by group. In this case, you can change it to selection by layer so that you can select easily. If it was on like this, you won't be able to select a specific layer when you are trying to edit. Come here to select layer, then we would move this 8000 to the right here. Look at smart guides is going to help us a lot here. So make sure it's turned on if you've not turned it at this point. Then come to 4 5. Even though it's in a group, you can pick it and move it because we have select by layer on, not select by group. So you bring this 7 5. We are trying to align everything to the right. Smart guide is it's just going to tell us it's basically going to snap. So you are going to and if you are not still sure, you can just bring out a ruler from the right and just put it there to shake. So that's aligned and this couple combo should be centered with the rectangle. So I can select it, then while loading on shift, select the background rectangle, align to the center, align to the center, do the same. Let me group this first, control then select the rectangle, align to the center. I'm going to do the same for the prices, control G, align to the center. Lastly, if you look at the inspiration we are getting this from, where is it? This, you'd notice that the previous price that was used before the discount was cancelled out. There's a little red over it. So we are going to do something for us too. If you did the previous assignment where I asked you to do a vertical line, and I mentioned that you can use a triangle like this. I don't like this stroke that is showing. Or you can come to your line 2, it's still under rectangle line 2, and just draw a vertical line. Either way, anyone works. You can reduce, you can adjust the width so that will change the stroke to black. Anyone you do, actually, as long as it gets whatever you're working on. So that's what we are going to be doing here today again, but we are going to be using line this time. So I'm just going to drag horizontally. It's on white. I'm changing the opacity to 50%. Remember what we are putting it on. This is not the main message, right? So we don't really need it to show like that. We are just adding it for adding's sake. So we think this right. So we are done with the cards, price tags that we want people to see. In fact, I'm thinking of changing this to 11,000 so it's uniform with the rest. That's select. Alright, so it looks better this way. And what else do we have to do? You can see our flyer is gradually coming, so gradually having our design. So last we have order and delivery. Now we have WhatsApp, we have the location. I basically have an idea of how I'm going to do this now, and it's because, like I mentioned, I've done several designs. I basically know how the general structure of things. I've seen inspiration online. I follow designers. I've seen so many designs. The more designs you see, the more these things just become part of you, where you don't have to stress too much to figure out what you are supposed to do. Now, I'm going to do something similar to what we have here. Now, I've not even taken any inspiration from this. So imagine I'm taking last part. So everything is important. And notice, you can't point at any of these designs and say we are copying any of these designs. We've taken inspiration from so many, we've added our own uniqueness to it. So it doesn't look like we are just being copycats, we are copying someone's work. Now, one thing I want us to do also is come to view, guides, and new guide layout, because no matter how good you are, you can't completely see pixel perfect alignment. So you still have to use guides. Now, if I see a design, I will know it's not aligned, right? For example, if you post whatever you worked on and the alignment is off, I'm most likely going to know, but I won't know by how many pixels. So guides are going to help you. I'm just going to move this left, this, then this and this to the left. Those are little things you have to make sure you don't forget you've done. So you don't keep stressing yourself and wondering why are things not working. Okay. Now for this, I'm even going to add something else. Look at this one we have here. You can see we have this color, and this color. I'm going to pick an inspiration from that. I'm just going to duplicate this, right? Change the color to this orange. Then we'll take it to the very back. Look at. Then let's bring it down. Now that's something different, and it's not exactly on any of the designs you are taking. You can see how different our design is looking. We are stealing like real artists, right? Yeah, use the word stealing. We are actually stealing, but we are doing it like artists. Alright, what do we have? What you get, where is it? What you get, and it's rectangle. You can duplicate Ctrl J, then take both out of the group. Let's take it to the very top of our spot one. You can now group, then bring it down here. Alright, so we want to change the content to what do we have here? Order and delivery. We're almost done with our design. Order and delivery. Sometimes it's faster for me to type than to copy and paste. Align it to the center of the page. Alright, now we have our WhatsApp and location. I have an idea of what to do. You, okay, I still have it online. I'm going to change it to rectangle. Okay, leave this. What do we have here? Should have some corner radius. Um, yeah, the stroke should be dotted. Once it dotted, white and stroke options dotted. Alright. Then the stroke color itself should be the same as what we have in this background. Yes. Right. Now the width should be more than just one. This is definitely too much. Let's use three. Is three good? Yes, it is. Right. So let's bring our order and delivery group right to the top. Then we have, can just copy this. Let's change it to layers so we can select easily. Control C. Then we come here. Control V. Okay. I'm sure it's out of the group. Yeah, it is. Alright. So we'll copy the phone number 080, whatever is there. I'm going to copy this. And there's actually a second number which include in 091612. These are dummy numbers anyway, so they won't work even if you try to call them. Alright, good. We have the two numbers you can call for the business. This is okay. Let's move it here. Okay. What else do we have to put? We have to put the location. So I'm going to copy the location text and copy this, duplicate it, bring it to the top. Just keep bringing it to the top, make sure it's at the top. Then paste the location here. Alright, let me expand it this way. This works. Okay, we have this already. And what we can do here actually is we can go online to search for a phone icon. In fact, let me give you that. I'm going to include it in the resources. So there's a phone icon and the location icon in the resources. Try to use it if you can. See how it's going to work. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use a text instead of using icons. Change this to WhatsApp. I'm going to reduce the size of this so much. It's going to be the smallest text in my design. So I really don't, I mean, if people are seeing phone number, they either know it's WhatsApp or you're supposed to call. Then let's duplicate this and change this to, what do we have here? Locations. Location. Okay. Now I'm going to bring this closer to the text here. And yes, when you have your smart guides on, you can know the distance, the number of pixels rather that you have between two elements on your page. When you click on the first one and you just hover on the second one while holding on control, you see this little pink or purple outlines, and then it tells us there's 5 pixels between these two elements. So I can just easily come here, click on this, control, and then check this, and then I'm just going to keep moving WhatsApp down till I have around 5 pixels, right? So it's just a very easy way for you to compare the gap and then get it on another part of your design. I'm going to reduce the spacing between the lines, location, and the text should come down here so that visually it looks like, if you align this location and the text, you align it to this rectangle at the back, it's going to look like this, right? Now it's not really visually appealing or balanced, even though it's mathematically balanced according to Photoshop. But then the space here is not the same as the space here. So I'm just going to use, I don't like using the word experience, but I mean, I've used it a couple of times in this video, so permit me to use it to the end. I'll try to avoid it in other videos. I'm going to bring it down so it looks like the amount of space up and down here is almost the same. And I can do the same for this. Now align this visually to the base of this. Look at this is good. Now one thing I can do is to download um, an icon, because with the amount of details you have on this flyer, it's possible people don't even read up to this point to see that you are supposed to order. But if you have maybe a delivery bike, just a little bit, we are not, remember when we're looking at principles and elements, things you add to your design should pass a message. You should have a reason for putting things in your design. You just don't put things randomly when they have nothing to do there. And also, I'm using it to fill up the space here, because if I say I should bring this to the right, there's just this giant useless space in the middle, right? So I'm going to bring that in. Here it is. I'll reduce the size, bring it down. Alright. So when people just see it, they just know that, oh, there's something related to delivery here. Now this is very yellowish and dull. We want it to be orange like the rest of what we have here. So what do? We come to use saturation here. That should be an adjustment layer. Use saturation, and we just increase the saturation. Simple. Then we clip it to our, is it a scooter or a delivery bike? I don't really care, whichever one it is. Okay, let's bring this over here a bit. This is, so we are going to add some extra stuff like leaf, this pepper. Let's just bring it them in. We are bringing, then I'm going to reduce the size. We just want to like have them on several places on our design. So I'm going to just scatter it around like this. Can put the seeds here like this. And then I'm going to select a couple of it. And okay, let me just do one first. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. We've done it in a previous video. The Ramadan flyer we used Gaussian blur. No, it shouldn't be Gaussian blur, it should be motion blur. We are trying to make it look as if it's moving, right? So filter, blur, then motion blur, right? We make the direction follow the direction of the paper itself, so it doesn't look strange and ridiculous. Now we can copy this motion blur. That's the beauty of Photoshop. You can copy effects. It's non-destructive editing. If I hide this motion blur, we have a paper back normally. Let me zoom in for you to see it properly. This is it with the motion blur, and this is it without it. So I'm going to copy this effect on others too. And how do you do that? Alt and just drag. Alt. I think I need that on this. Alright, that's good enough for me. And lastly, we are going to bring our food image in. The food image is actually in this zip folder, so you unzip and get the file from there. Now I have a dangerous habit of not saving my designs until I just suddenly realize close to the end of the signing. And that's very bad. Your software can crash and then you just lose all the hard work. Don't be like me on that. Make sure you save your work early and you keep saving throughout the process of your design. Control S to save. Name it whatever you want to name it. That's your decision to make. Control T to reduce the size. A to then bring it to the top here, somewhere around here. Because images pass messages faster than text, right? Not everybody is going to read the whole flyer, but at least they should see jollof, they should know this is about food, even if they don't get the idea from the colors, those pepper, the leaves flying around this patch. If they don't get the idea from all those, they should see this image and know it's a food flyer. Lastly, Ctrl Shift N creates a new layer. I'm going to create a light effect, just put some light over here, and I'm going to take the layer down, then I'm going to reduce the opacity. I only want the effect to show a little bit. Alright, I need this to be down here. Take it back up one layer to be above the light flare. Obviously, want it somewhere around here. I think I'm going to bring a leaf here and one pepper here too. Let me rotate it and then add motion blur effects. So I'm just sprinkling all these things on my design. I mean, honestly, I think it's even so much actually. I'm going to delete some of it. I can delete this too. I'm still having ideas on what to add to this design. But remember what I said on simplicity. You are not done with your design when I have nothing else to add. You are done with your design when there's nothing unnecessary to remove. Alright, so one thing you can do is just work a little bit more on the placement of your resources, the little details, the spacing between elements, for example, the spacing here and the spacing here. Does it look equal? Make sure it doesn't, nothing looks awkward in your design. Go over it again and again. Check what you might have moved by mistake. For example, I've moved this. I don't know when I did. I can go back, go to the group. This is bullets. I don't know how I moved it. Then realign, right? Make sure you have not moved anything that shouldn't have been moved. And lastly, there should be a logo on top here if you are working for a real client, they'll give you their logo. You put it there, but I'm just going to share the name. I think I deleted it by mistake here. So I'm just going to come here, put this here, text, Amati Food Canteen. This should not be good in any way. It should not even be college grotesque. And using these decisions of fonts is because I've been designing and I just this would look better than Ecolage, for example. And note, I'm not using more than two fonts, right? I'm only using Poppins and Ecolage. Left to me, actually, I can change every single thing to Poppins, remove Ecolage, and it will still look good. It doesn't matter. So I can just put that up here. If you have a logo you've designed, you have any logo at all, you can even put your own personal logo here. Just put it here, and when you're going to post online, post it. The last, very last thing, I know I've said last a couple of times in the, but this is the last thing we are going to do, and it's important. It's just you polishing your design at the end. So you come here, click on the topmost layer, and then Control Shift Alt E. Now you've merged every single thing so that when you are applying this camera raw filter that we are going to apply, it's not going to affect your previous design in case you want to change it later. So you right click, convert it to smart object, then you come here filter, camera raw filter. Now there is a method I like using a lot when it comes to this. You know, people like to be specific, so they'll start thinking, oh, do I want more exposure? But there's this method that works very well. Just drag, and reduce the dragging gradually. And just don't look at the controls, look at your flyer. Don't look at the controls at all. Just drag violently at first, then reduce it, and you move towards where you feel looks best. Then you move to the next one, contrast. You do the same thing violently at first, then gradually you slow down around this. So instead of thinking too much, you let your eyes decide what you want, where you want to stop. So you do that for everything here. Basically, I don't think you should touch color. Don't touch details. This sharpening is actually very deceptive. You might think it makes your design look good, but it just makes it look bad more often than not. So click on OK and export your design. And with that, we've designed our touch flyer in this course. If at any point in this video you hit a roadblock and you were not able to continue, you can drop a comment, reach out to me on any of my social media handles that will be in the description, and I'll do well to answer you as best as I can. Alright, see you in the next video. Enjoy.